Here on the side, we fix the height of the machine. So you will adjust it according to need, up or down. Okay? So it depends upon how can you relax and acquire a good ECG for your patient. So we developed everything to help you here. Also, on the other hand, we let the drawer be built in. So that will help you to disinfect the machine actually after using it with a patient. Okay? So to start now with the machine, that we have the startup button on the keyboard here. So upon starting up the machine, this is our startup screen. So what do we have in here? We have the signals, as you can see it in here. So if it is connected, it will show you it is connected with the Wi-Fi signals. If you want to do a double check, we will click on it and it will show you it is active. Okay? Next to it, we have the batteries. So the machine can run 2 batteries. The standard one is 1 battery. So I think you have here 1 battery. So as much as we don't use the machine, we have to keep it plugged in as came from the manufacturer. As much as we don't use the machine, let's keep it plugged in, even if the battery is full. So the full battery will serve you up to 3 hours. With the 2 batteries, it will serve you up to 6 hours. So as came from manufacturer again, keep it plugged in as much as we don't use the machine. Here we have the 3 white stars, the BBM. So that will transfer into numbers when you hook up your patient. Okay? In the upper part here, we have all patient demographics. So today we'll discuss how to acquire a good ECG, and we will discuss the workflow as well inside the hospital here. Okay? So here we have our hookup advisor, similar to the previous machine. So upon hooking up your patient, you have to check the signal or the quality of your signal. So your indicator here must be green. So we have the green, yellow, and red. So the green indicator, you can get it by well preparation of your patient, right placement of your leads, and try to relax the lead wires as much as you can in a patient. That will reduce the artifacts rate. The yellow one, as we highlighted, it's acceptable. It's acceptable. Why did we say it's acceptable? Because sometimes we deal with senile patients. So senile patients, they have muscle tremors. So with the muscle tremors, you will never be able to acquire or get the green indicator. So that's why we said it's acceptable. If the patient is moving a lot, it will be, or a pediatric patient, it will be yellow indicator. So that's why it's acceptable. And the third part is going to be if the machine is sitting next to a generator room, it will be yellow indicator and it will never be green. So that's why we said the yellow is still acceptable. But if it is a red indicator and you can see a waveform here, please do not acquire your ECG, because that will give you a wrong interpretation and you will misguide your physician. Okay? So, getting back now to our machine, now our patient will show up. As you know that we have to place an order for our patients to acquire an ECG for them. So now we will share the workflow part. So upon showing up with the patient, you have to ask your physician to place an order, or you can place an order by yourself if you have the privilege for that one. So you will start using a start new patient, in here the blue icon on the screen, and you will start enter the MRN of your patient. So upon entering the MRN of your patient, automatically the machine will bring the order from the system and will bring all patient demographics with it. So you don't have to do any manual entry anymore. Okay? So all of these spaces will be auto-filled. Then you have to do save. As we know that there are 3 to 5% of patients that we don't have time to place an order for them all over the world in emergency departments. So we have 3 to 5% of our patients, we cannot place orders for them. So what will we do with this case? So in our workflow, and getting back to our workflow, that we can put patient IDs here or whatever we want manually, then we can attach the order later onto it, and I will show you how to do that. So our workflow depends on one order, one report, it will show up in the patient's profile. One order, 2 reports, it will not show up in the profile, it will be stuck in Muse. Report without an order, it will be stuck in Muse, as we're looking for someone to attach these ones to each other, then it will show up in the patient's profile. So now let's do one case here. So we have the MRN of our patient. So we'll start with 11111. Then I will move to last name and first name. So we made these fields, look, it's thinking, it's trying to find the order. So if there is an order with the MRN I enter, it will bring all patient demographics with the order, and that one is going to be autofill. So as much as the machine is not connected so far, so we can just do things manually, and later on, if there is an order, we can attach it to our patient.
So with
Okay.
this patient without file, we can do manual.
You can do an ECG still, okay? So it's still thinking, looking for an order, trying to connecting with the network of the hospital, but just when we do the enter, we'll do save, and all patient demographics will show up in here in the upper part, okay? So now we will hook up our patient, we'll check our hookup advisor, we enter patient demographics or enter an order over there, then we will start our ECG. But before we start our ECG, as you can see in here, I have to check the hookup advisor. I have the arrow up or down to open the files or check whatever we want. Okay, so all is gonna be in one screen. So the previous machine, you were going through the more main menu and looking for the file manager to find your reports. Now everything is gonna be in here. So upon pressing the arrow in here on the top, you will find the files and you will find all of your reports in here. Okay, so we didn't acquire an ECG yet. So now, before we acquire an ECG, let's check what do we have in the machine. So we have the 3 dots in here, similar to previous machine for the speed, gain, and filter. These are standard configuration, to be honest, ready to be changed, but you have to know how to reach to that part because sometimes you need it. If there is any specific requirements from your physician, you have to know where to find these ones. So the speed is 25 millimeter per second. The gain is 10, this is for adult. And for the pediatric, as we know, the gain is always high. So we have to make the gain 5 with the pediatric to get a clear picture for our physician. The filter rate, we put it at 40. So if you have some artifacts or a lot of it, you can clean your reports by making that filter in 20. So that will reduce the artifact rate in your reports. Okay, so now we are talking about all of these things before we accept the picture we have from the patient or the ECG. On the other side here, we have the adult 12 lead, the pediatric 12 lead, adult 15 lead, pediatric 15 leads. So as much as we didn't enter the age of our patient to our patient demographics manually, the machine will deal with it as an adult 12 lead ECG. Okay? So if someone played with the machine and you are not running a 15 lead ECG for your patient, if someone was playing and you found yourself with this screen, you don't have to shut down the machine and start up again to find the 12 leads. Just go to these 3 dots and press adult 12 lead ECG. Okay, so now we are ready to acquire ECG. We have 3 ways to acquire our ECG. First one is going to be on the screen itself. We have start ECG and start rhythm. So now we have an option in the machine. It's a standard, but it's an option to turn it on or off. It's an auto ECG, and we turn it on so far. So upon hooking up your patient, the machine will detect the best 10-second signals from your patient side, and it will acquire an ECG for you. So if you don't have time to enter the patient demographics, this is your time to enter the patient demographics. So you can hook up your patient, then enter the patient demographics in here. So not to start a new patient, you can use the drop list here, and you fill the patient demographics. So we kept some fields mandatory for the patient IDs, the first name, last name, and the MRN. So you cannot transfer any report without filling these boxes. Okay, then you have to do save. Okay, so now, as we highlighted, that the auto ECG will run on the machine, it will freeze the picture for you, and you have the option to accept or reject. If you do reject, you will do the manual ECG. Okay, if you do accept, it's going to be printed out and it's going to be auto saved into the files. Okay, so now let's do one ECG. We said that we have 3 ways. This is the first one on the screen itself. The other way is going to be the 3 color buttons on the keyboard, and we have the same three buttons actually on the acquisition module. So if you are next to your patient, you don't have to get back to the machine to press a button on the screen. You can press it from your acquisition module here. Okay, so let's start one ECG. So you know that the algorithm which is running in the machine is really smart. So we developed it to be the second best opinion after the cardiologist. So we have 150 trials published in the internet showing the accuracy of our algorithm. So it's 99.9, so or 0.99. So that's why it's the second best opinion after the cardiologist. So as much as we give information to machine, it will give us better interpretation. So not only the patient IDs are needed here, but we need the age and gender of our patient. Okay, so now when we do acquire the ECG here, it will freeze the picture for you. Okay, so you have to accept or reject. If it is auto, it will show the same way. If you do it manually, it will freeze the picture, then accept and reject. So the accept of your report, it will be printed out and it will be auto-saved under the files of the machine. Okay, so now as we all know, sometimes we do one ECG and we don't like it, and then we will place another ECG. We find better signals, so we will run another ECG or even a third one. So remember our workflow. It's one order, one ECG to show up in the patient's profile. So how can we manage that one? We know that we retrieve the order with all patient demographics, so we have all orders with patient demographics in here. We have to add one report to it. So now if we do acquire or accept this report, and I do accept, there is no way to change what you did. Okay? There are no papers here, or maybe we put it without a paper. I'll say it here, same patient. I'll start another ECG. So again, this is our ECG, right? So we didn't like the picture here. What will we do? We will go back to our live ECG. So we have two tabs in the top here. Live ECG, this is our live ECG, and this is the ECG which I acquired. If I didn't like it, I will not do accept and start another ECG. I will get back to my live screen and I will start another ECG. So that will overwrite the previous one. So as much as I didn't accept, it will overwrite it. Then you will have one report next to your order. Upon accepting, both of them will be attached to each other. Upon transmitting to Muse, it will show up in the patient's profile. Clear? Okay. The other scenario which we just highlighted, that I don't have time to place an order. So what will I do to manage that report and let it show up in the patient's profile? At the end, when you do acquire the ECG, you will find time to place an order later on for the ECG. So what will we do? We will do an ECG for our patient. We have the time, as much as we didn't accept, we have the time, as we said earlier, that to enter the patient demographics before we accept, then to do save. So the interpretation is really smart, or the algorithm. So the interpretation will be changed according to the inputs you add after you acquire. So let's do accept here, and we will go to our files. So it's printing out. Then I will do done, start a new patient. Where can I find my reports now? It's under the files. Remember the arrow here? This is our hookup advisor. Okay, sorry. Continue. So here is the arrow where to place your leads as well. It's showing up in here. So if I press the arrow, you will find files, orders, or queues. So I can expand that screen as well, not only to see it over there. So this is my patient. I can check the status if I transmit or not to the Muse in here. The sent status, which will show a check mark. Okay? I can minimize now. So I check my patient. Upon pressing on the patient's name here, it will show up the report which I acquire. So if I acquire an ECG for my patient to do a fast management for them, I have to go back to the system, place an order. I will get back to my machine before I do the transmitting. I will check my report here. Then I will go to the orders and I will find my order here in the order list. I will attach it to that report. Then it will be attached. Then I can send it to Muse to show up in the patient's profile. So you don't have an excuse to lose a report for your patient now. You have all the reports filed or saved in the machine. You can place an order later on. You can attach that order to your report. Then you can do the transmit to show up in the patient's profile. Okay? Remember the workflow again. One order, one report, attached to each other, it will show up in the patient's profile. One order, two reports, it will be stuck in Muse looking for someone to delete unneeded one. A report without an order, it will be stuck in Muse looking for someone to attach that order. So for all situations, we have to place an order for our patient, but it's much better for us to attach the report to the order from the beginning and show it up in the patient profile. Remember, the rare cases are 3 to 5% only all over the world with the ER departments. So please make sure to run the workflow. Ask your physician to place an order before you acquire an ECG, or even when you do an ECG for that 3 to 5%, place an order later on to be in the system, and then you can attach it from the machine itself. Okay, so getting back to our workflow here, we do the transmit as we highlighted. We have the option of transmit on the screen itself, or I can go to my files in here and do transmit. I can highlight, then I will do transmit. Okay? So getting back here, that we said that we have the rhythm report as well. So we did now one ECG for our patient. What's the rhythm report? Rhythm report, it will start printing the whole 12 leads on a rhythm way. It will never stop till you ask it to stop. So what we developed in our machine here, that we can save up to 5 minutes of our rhythm reports. So rhythm report can be printed out now, then it can be saved under the files, and you can transmit to news as well. So your physician will be able to see the electronic copy of your written reports now. So it's up to 5 minutes. We didn't fix the time for the written reports because it's different from physician to another. Someone will ask for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So upon pressing the start rhythm, you have to start counting with it. Okay? But it will show a count on the screen itself. But we don't have a case here. Okay. So upon pressing rhythm, you have to press stop, or you can press on the rhythm button itself. When you start rhythm, it will start counting here. You can press the same button to stop. Okay? So now, printing out reports. It's not our priority here, but we have to be able to print reports so far. So how to load papers to our machine. This is the last part of our session today. You have the tray on the side here. Okay? You can see the tray? Yeah? So just open the tray and you will place your papers inside. We have to ask our biomedical team for the papers, but also the previous papers which we have in the previous machine can work fine with the machine. So remember the previous one, it has a reader hole in here, in the upper left part of the machine will be. So it's gonna be the same way. So we can load it and take a piece of a paper out. Sorry. It was just slide down. But we have a new type of papers, to be honest, that will come with a black square on it. So the black square will be in the lower left part of the machine. So the previous paper versions is going to be with the reader hole in the upper left part. The new version is going to be a black square, or your indicator will be the black square, and it will be in the lower left part of the machine. So upon sliding papers inside, and as you know, we will take a piece of a paper out, then we will close our tray gently. So that piece, it's not a matter how big is that piece, because it will start from the next page. So I took 2 papers here. But upon closing the tray, we will be able to print out our ECGs. Okay? Any further question? Please go ahead. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good day. Thank you very much. Thank you.